All this speed. For example, at the beginning, it's not necessary, but so like that, so very smooth, very delicate, and the first note is not important, the final note is very important. Like here, for example, when I play the passage, okay, another passage, he wants the acciaccatura del again, he wants all right, then double C, and then again he likes to do like that. So in all this part, it's very easy to play this piece, but at the same time it's difficult because we have many movements, many changes of position in the piece, what we and all this effect we of slide. So my advice is to play in tempo all the piece, but creating a great legato, and I'd say don't consider the single bars, but the phrases. For example, from the beginning, start playing. For example, there in tempo, we don't need at the beginning, we don't need great rubato. Then you can add rubato if you like, and I think it's important to add some rubato. The kind of rubato, what type, what kind of rubato, sometimes it's not very easy to understand and to decide what kind of rubato you have to do. In my view, I think it's important to create a sort of rubato following all this tension in the phrases. Almost like giving a little accent on the first. So right, like you can stop for a while here, for example, and then again, like of course, it's very important to give a vibrato. Vibrato is very important. Here, vibrato is important every time, or even in the Gran Vals. This is a style full of romanticism, full of, it's based on melody. So the melody is linked to the vocal melody. For this reason, I think it's important to maintain this medium vibrato. I mean, the speed is medium speed vibrato. And sometimes you can also have more accent, and so the vibrato, for example, when you need the special accent, you can accelerate the vibrato. For example, I don't know if you want, okay? Even here, and then even more calm here. And then the second part. So I repeat, it's very clear, melody in the upper voice, melody in the bass, and the accompaniment very delicate. Sometimes you can follow the intensity of the melody, vibrato, slide, and creating at the beginning an execution in tempo with clear rhythm, and then adding rubato, adding little rubato, not the great rubato. So we have questions in the chat. We have Andrea asking something, ma non conosco questo pezzo.
When Tarrega, yes, I don't know this piece because I think I never sentito, aspetta, heard, I never hear. But when Tarrega composed this piece?
When Tarrega, sorry?
Composed
The
this piece? Sì,
period.
questo brano, sì.
The period, it's around the end, when he was in his 25 more or less.
My age, now I'm 25.
Age, yeah. Like a sort of genius. He was a sort of genius.
Really?
You can consider it, yeah. You can consider that many of these artists. You don't have to wait when you are in your 30s, your 40s, but you can do it now, Andre. You can do it now. So they are asking me, oh, why Tarrega did dedicate so many titles of his compositions to women? I think that it is a part of his life. There is also his son, Paquito, and the ladies like his wife and some other many ladies. I think it's nice to dedicate this to a lady. For example, we will talk then about Maria, this Gavotta Maria, and Maria is a sort of caprice. And what I like is to consider also maybe a link between the piece, the character of the piece and the character of the woman, maybe, who knows. Anyhow, mi dispiace, non conosco questo pezzo. Yeah, we can go on. Thank you, Andrei. This is a wonderful piece, and there are many other preludes. With my friend Giovanni Podera, we did a sort of very new edition of all these pieces for Curci edition, and it's I think you have a sort of complete sight on all his preludes, and there are some wonderful, really wonderful pieces. There is also Lagrima in my program. So before playing Maria, I have Lagrima. You know Lagrima. What do you say about Lagrima? It's impossible to add anything about Lagrima. Anyhow, just a couple of words should be useful and nice about Lagrima, because it's really an easy melody. Okay, so the Lagrima, but sometimes the easiest pieces are the most difficult to play. So it's not that to play well Lagrima is so easy. I think, again, we have this melody, Lagrima. First of all, what does Lagrima mean? You know, it's a tear. But sometimes I ask myself, why Lagrima? Why a tear in this piece, which is full of tenderness, full of joy, full of light? So that's the question. And I just answer myself, oh, maybe it's another kind of tear. It's a tear of joy. It's a tear, maybe he was looking to his son, so to a little baby, and it's just the tenderness in this tear. There is this really this happiness and joy, but delicate at the same time, and soft tenderness. So it's the melody, and we have two elements. The kind of melody, there is tension and then release here. So, and at the same time we have the 10th, the interval, which is again, what I suggest you please don't anticipate often the bass like it's good, of course. I like also. I prefer a clean execution and pure, because it's a pure piece. It is a pure melody, very clean and pure. So if I play, you can play also like that, of course, with much rubato. Or on the other side, you can be very clean, very pure, like. I don't know which one you prefer. It's also a matter of taste, of course. I prefer, since the melody is pure, to be pure. And so not to anticipate the bass, not to have so much rubato. You have two phrases repeating. The first phrase and the second one repeats the first. So you can change something very slightly. So not a great change. So it's not necessary to do big things in a small piece, but the right things. It's what I say. So I think it's so pure. And then again. It's just this. So we don't need. But why not? You know, music is why not. I admit, I tolerate, and I like also what I don't do. You know, I'm curious about life, about music. It's sort of anyone has his own, you have your own vision of the piece. So this is my personal vision, the simple piece, simple ideas. Don't do many things on this idea. It's what I think. But if you prefer to add many different things, okay, you can go on. What I suggest you is always to play different possibilities. Maybe to record them, you record, and then you listen, and you decide. But try to do different, is what I do usually. When I want to create my own idea, I try one, second different interpretation, third different interpretation. In this, Andrei?
What kind of integral edition you advise?
The edition,
like Giovanni Podera or.
This is, I think, this is good for the notes, but there are also the original you can find on internet.
Okay.
The original version.
Okay. And what difference there is between Tarrega and Villalobos, my father?
Okay. We will talk later. Now we finish with Lagrima. What is important in this Lagrima that we have a section A, section B, and section A. And this is typical of many pieces by Tarrega, Adelita, Marietta, the Mazurkas, the Gran Vals. So many pieces are A, B, A, or A, B, C, D, A. So it's important to give difference between A, let's say delicate with tenderness, delicacy, and so on. The second one is more dramatic. So it's written also with a slur, so we can blend if you prefer. But the point is that the sound, the intensity is just more dramatic here. So you can underline, you can be heavier on each chord on the melody. So you just compare. Or you can just pluck the note, which I prefer, just to have the melody clear. Intense. Okay, I am playing with rubato, yes, but not much rubato. You can go on it's you know, the soul here, the mood is very different. The first one is so calm, but the second session has an opposite mood. So you can be calm. Pattern. You can go. Okay, very agitating. And then you go back. Okay, and so the game is done, nothing else. And then, okay, you can change slightly something like that. For example, so when you have A, B, A, the second A can be slightly different from the first one. There is something happening. So maybe you can do the same or you can change something, because the second A is just a sort of remembering about the first one. So it's not the same. This is the first idea, then something happening, and then you remember about the first idea. So it's not just the same. That's my suggestion, my advice. You should be super famous. Thank you. I'm working on it. Okay, so some chat, and I will try to answer to everybody. Yes, Maria is the name of both his wife and his daughter in the research. Yes, that's true, that's true. C'è un collegamento tra Tarrega e Villalobos, cioè per quanto riguarda la tecnica. Here the question is there any link between Tarrega and Villalobos regarding the technique? It is interesting. I think, thank you, Andrei, that's an interesting question. What I say is that the technique Tarrega was a sort of last technique of a new technique and last technique. What I just try to be more clear. So it was the last technique of the 19th century from Regondi, let's say from Costa Regondi Sor, we go to Tarrega, but at the same time, there are some new elements. Which kind of elements? For example, all this slide, all this technique, this sort of the tremolo, the kind of tremolo, for example, in Recuerdos of Alhambra, was completely new. And he treats the guitar in a new way. Let's consider that the modern guitar was born with Tarrega and Llobet. What I'm saying is that if you play, this is very easy, if you play a piece by Sor on the piano, or a piece by Giuliani with the orchestra, or a piece by even Regondi on the violin with piano, they will sound perfectly, they will sound great. But if you play the Capricho Arabe on the piano, it's not the same. It is just better on the guitar. If you play your best music, it is much better, because the pieces, the technique is now very linked to the modern guitar. And Villalobos did the same operation in a more visionary and the bravest. No, it was very brave and full of imagination when he created the technique of his studies, the 12 etudes, the 12 studies. It was full of imagination. So in some way, there is a link, because the kind of the writing of the writing style by Tarrega is modern, and the writing style of Villalobos is completely modern. So in this way, I would say. So thank you. Villalobos is your father. Thank you. So son of Villalobos. Okay. Yeah, I did it right. What you should be, and then Giulio, do you use the rest stroke for the melody? That is an important question. That is very important. That is, I think, a main question on this music. Ma starting from Tarrega 2, I don't play rest stroke, as you see, but I use this sort of, how do you say, sort of medium rest stroke. It's a free stroke, but also with a weight, heavy weight on the string. So when I play two strings and I want to underline the melody, what I say is just to push the string, and I do like that. It's sort of, if I play rest stroke, is this or this. So, you know, Scott Tennant, pumping nylon. I use that kind of modern technique. I don't use, we could do maybe in the future together in a workshop, this technique together. It's very important when you play any kind of music. For example, in this case, I don't play with the same volume. No, I try to be delicate and don't push too much, but push in here. So the result will be like that. Okay, so. But if I want, or if you want to underline the bass line, you will push more with bass, like. And it can be an effect sometimes, no? You can do, and the second time, yeah, you play. It's all a question of weight, okay? I too, I use this sort of semi-rest stroke. So I don't rest on the string, but I push down and going away from the string. It's what I do. With this sort, I don't play like that. I prefer, you know, technique, it depends. There are many kind of good techniques. I try to have a full rounded sound, not too much for my taste, but when I need this kind of sound, it's just heavy, and I play the melody in that way. Fake rest stroke uses pushing the string deep and releasing. So I was saying, yeah, that's it. That's exactly, that's exactly what I use. Which is modern technique. It's more comfortable sometimes because you let all the strings ring in when you play this kind of fake rest stroke. Yes, it's a fake rest, or yeah, I say medium rest because you do the first part but not the second. So you don't, in two strings, you don't do this, but you push and then go away. So let's go on with some other pieces. If you have questions, please ask me. I'm talking and talking. I don't want to be boring for you, but you know, I love this music so much that I could just go on for hours and hours with some good bottle of wine here, Italian wine, and yeah, not this time. What's the time now? Here is 12:20. So I go on with this Maria. Maria is really a wonderful piece. An amazing piece of music, and we start from the beginning of the Maria. Not boring at all, please go on. Thank you, I will go on. And this is okay, privately, thank you, thanks a lot to Antonio, which is fantastic, and Veda, and Ratki, Sunil, there are, okay, Jeline, okay, so there are a lot of people, so thank you. Even please ask me, okay? I'm here for you, really. Maria, we go on with Maria. Maria is a piece with a rhythmic structure. Let's play the first bar together. The first bar. This is the first reading. For example, you can play with staccato, with legato. I prefer to use both. Since there is a rhythmic mood in this piece, there is rhythm, is a sort of dance. Staccato can be really useful when you play this music. So let's talk only about, please read only the melody. Okay, like that. If you add some staccato, can be, or example, or you can do also, you can decide many different kind of staccato. What I suggest is to add something. I think it's not enough. Why not Maria? Yeah. So this is Maria. Yeah. Yeah. And or I repeat, I prefer the staccato. Or but in any case, you should give character to this piece. It's not, it's written allegretto, grazioso solo. He suggests the fingering here. Again, the slide, the beginning slide, not button. Also, or, for example, the chords, if you see the chords, they are on the weak tempo, not the main tempo, but the second tempo. But this. Okay, so if you can underline, I think you will get the good rhythm. So or then we go on. Let's see this passage. So his rhythm against staccato more than. Of course, the staccato is a choice. You can play also without staccato this passage. I think since there is rhythm, it is necessary to play some staccato. Maybe not the staccato, maybe even so not so strict, not so accented, but staccato. Again. Then this, you can play this, or it's rhythm, the finger, or it's written by Tarrega with slurs. So you, when you play this, so very fast. But I think if you want to avoid some of this slide, you can do. Or, but if you want to play Tarrega, or they are all good. Okay. Why I don't, as I said, I think it depends more on the character that you want to give to this piece, more than slurs, more than slides, is the character of the piece. Even here, but or without. Anyhow, they are good because the character is more important than the single notes, single points. So all the first part is full of rhythm. Then this is softer. Again. Sort of answer and question and answer. So here you can just take out the staccato, legato. Again without staccato. Even here, not too staccato, or and again. Then it starts again. There is a crescendo here, starting. Again, when we play, or there is this. Just again, you see, it's a question, answers, questions, answers, questions, answer all the time. From here, so there is question and answer. And then from this, there is another question and answer, which are in this relation. So, so there is a relation between these two elements and between the big elements. Okay? So, and then less. Then again, this is crescendo, preparing this phrase. And then from here, now the answer. Again, proposal. Then again. Okay, it's the same point here. Let's say the fingering here can be, you can have different fingerings here. I don't know which kind of edition you have with you, but there is the original one, and there are some changes in the new modern editions. What I suggest here is really to follow your music idea more than the fingering itself. Here the idea is just a question and answer, like where is it? I don't know, here. Not here. For example, question, answer, or so. Then again, or, and then answer. So when you play, so this is the game of the piece. That's very important. You can decide to add or not add all that, and then, or like you can all it depends also on the speed you play. Harmonic. This is the special fingering I do, and then. But there is also this. The original is with this, which is sometimes on modern guitar it doesn't sound. So it depends on you. If you play like that, I suggest you use the second. And again, the melody on the bass. Here the voice is on the second, on this, okay. pizzicato, and then final. So when you play all the piece, I repeat, try to give a great difference between these elements. There are always first affirmative phrase. So it's very affirmative. You can go on. Then second part without staccato. Just thinking about something, a different soul, a different mood, and then starting again. And then all these. And then again, forte, piano, piano. Then sort of final. Final doubt, and then Capricho with rubato. And then I use the thumb, and then here you can hold. You can use just the index, and then you just. This is pizzicato, but it's not good to play pizzicato. I think to imitate pizzicato, but let it ring like that. And then you wait, and final surprise. Okay, this is a really incredible piece of music. If you play in concert, it's allegretto, don't push it too much with the speed. Complimenti, bellissime sfumature. Yes, I like to do this. Maybe sometimes I exaggerate a little on this, but I like to have this music very live and with all this contrast inside each element. So each element inside the little element and between different big elements. I like to play this music like this. Grazie per questa lezione. So thanks a lot, Tommaso, Cristina, and some other question. Do you recommend rubato? So thanks, Siddharth Himaga. So I recommend rubato. Yes, I recommend rubato. Let's talk a little about rubato, because it is a really hard point to play rubato and really to understand, to decide what kind of rubato to use and to play. What I suggest you to find the right rubato is to listen to a lot of music. First of all, piano music by great interpreters, because even rubato is a sort of knowledge that, let's say, the piano interpreters, they have for a long time, starting from a really long time. So there is a school of rubato, a school of interpretation, starting from the 19th century and from Liszt on till nowadays. With the guitar, we have a sort of not such a long history in interpretation. So what I suggest is really to start from that kind of rubato, to listen to general music, piano and orchestral music, because rubato is only a way to underline ideas. But if you use a really free rubato without balance, it can become something worse than using rubato. So if you use rubato, you need also balance. What I say is that if you play, for example, a piece exactly in tempo, like, I don't know, Or, for example, if I play Maria, let's say Maria. Okay. Okay. Or if I play with rubato, I should arrive at the end at the same time, in the same time. Rubato is a question of balance. So you sometimes accelerate, then you go back in the time, rallentando, accelerando, rallentando, going upwards and downwards. So that's rubato. This sort of rubato is similar to our break. Sometimes we need to do that to reach a point, to give direction, and then coming back, going back. Otherwise, you follow the balance and the piece and the phrase and everything you are doing is not clear. So that's the point of rubato. Use rubato. Rubato is linked to the phrase, is like when we play and we talk, for example. Even I'm talking, I could talk like that all similar at the same time. Sometimes I accelerate because the idea is very important. Then I want to stop. I want to let you understand. So it's just like music. Some ideas you need to stop on them, you need to go on, but to find a general balance. For this reason, two things I suggest you. The first one is to play the music in tempo with your metronome, with you, metronome all the time. You start with metronome, you go on with metronome, then what you do is to add rubato and to understand rubato, which is a sort of art. It's not easy. So start from little rubato, then you can go towards big rubato. So do you recommend? Yes, I recommend. Yes, I do. Giulio, you deserve a better sound, so pick up a microphone. Yes, for best internet. Yeah. Above all, for maybe you can just, I think you can hear my voice very well, but not the sound. I understand. I understand perfectly, above all in the concert. So there are many messages. The staccato, yes, the staccato in Maria sounds better. Yeah, and finally, how do you memorize interpretation, since interpretation are such detailed information? How do you memorize interpretation? So I think that, so thanks to, above all, quando la prossima lezione, Cristina, we will see when in the next lesson we will decide with Veda. This is the name of Anatamna Padit. So amazing. How do you memorize interpretation? How do you memorize music? And how do I memorize interpretation? They ask me sometimes, Giulio, what's the trick, the tip for to memorize music easily? There is not a particular trick which I consider, well, I just play the piece. I play through the piece. I divide in section and I try to play the section, to memorize a section, sometimes to memorize single bar, to memorize the phrase, which is important to me. I think it's my simple basic method. I use it all the time to memorize, to play the piece, and above all, what is very important is to play always with the music score in front of me. So even if I know the piece very well by memory, I don't need the score, but I am just reading the piece, because all the time I need to scroll the PDF in my mind. I have the PDF exactly. And there are three kinds of memorization. The visual one, which is the most important, the visual memorization. The second one is the digital memorization. It is the kind of memorization when you just play, you don't think about what you're playing, you're just thinking about your life, or your day, the chair, or I don't know, anything else, but you still go on and you play and not, okay, this is a digital memorization. And the third one, which is the most important and the most complex, is the musical memorization. The music memorization tells you the notes, the melody. So I know that, and then, for example, I can change fingering because I know the lines, the melodies, and I can find the notes on the guitar. But the question is also, how do you memorize interpretation? Which is another thing, maybe, I don't know if it is another question, maybe I try to imagine that it is another question. So I have a project on the piece, and I think this is another important point I want to tell you. In my vision of music, you have a project of your piece of music. When you decide, after playing it in tempo, you decide the project, rubato, dynamics, expression, vibrato, many things you decide. It's your own interpretation, your own vision of the piece. This is the vision that you really like, you really love. You love to play the piece in that way. You have to feel that kind of mood of feeling when you play a piece. I love that in that way. I love the piece and I want to play in that way. After that, you have your project. When you play, you can change sometimes. You can be, you know, I have memorized, I've decided, I've memorized the interpretation, I have decided the interpretation, but at the same time, every time I play the piece, I want to recreate it. So not be repetitive, not to just to play. I know that I have to, but I want maybe this time, I want to underline more, for example, just to change something little, but to feel the sensation to be alive all the time, and to decide in a sort of, let's say, improvisation style. In a way, you decide, but you improvise. You have your project perfect, and you want to improvise a little on it. So that's music. The music becomes alive and more interesting for you and for the people who are listening. So we go on. Amazing. How do you memorize? Quando la prossima lezione? Now it's time, yeah, to go. Maybe which is your favorite piece of Tarrega to play? I have many of them, many pieces by Tarrega. So thanks to everybody. I'm not Nandini and Ratkin. Which is your favorite piece? It's hard to say. It's just to ask me, Giulio, you prefer a good risotto or wonderful spaghetti or incredible? I don't know, you know, because there are so many wonderful, amazing pieces. I like too many pieces by Tarrega. So it's really difficult to me to understand and to maybe to answer you. Maybe a good idea for a future workshop where you can take a piece for scratch and show us your process of interpretation and finally bring it to performance level. That's interesting. Let's try to do it now. Why not? We can do it now. We can do. Let's. I have Mazurka and Sol or Adelita. I don't know. Here, Mazurka and Sol, if you like. We can do Mazurka and Sol. Yeah, well, I decide. Yeah, there is not this kind of interaction. I try. Yes, you can. Oh, right. I can listen. I can hear you. So Mazurka and Sol and Adelita. Maybe you all play Adelita. You don't play Mazurka and Sol. Maybe which is the best one? Let's. You suggest me. You suggest me. Adelita. Adelita is good. Adelita. Okay. Adelita is better. Adelita. Let's try from the really beginning of Adelita. We are together. I am here with a new piece of music. It's here. I have never read it. Okay. It's time to read this piece. Adelita. So first thing, I just try to read through the piece. So tempo, of course, accidentals, so sharps and flats and bemol, diesis, and I try to play the piece. First of all, I play I try to read through the bar, to the first bar, and I try to play in tempo. No? First thing I drew, okay, and then, for example, I play like that, then, okay. Second step to me is to understand where is the melody, and how is it shaped. It's my aim, my purpose, how it's shaped. So the first one, it's written just, like a melody, yes, in this way, melody, upper melody, and then accompaniment. So I need so first of all, I try to find a good sound. Maybe I play also the melody alone. I try to add the bass. And then this is the answer. So the melody is not, but it's very delicate. It's an accompaniment. I'm not playing the Rextro, but if you like. First of all, I try to have sort of spheres in the melody. Even here, in example, you could have his rhythm, or even in this way. The important is to have the melody, so all the notes at the same level of intensity and the same kind of sound. So avoid, all right, but like that, all very similar. Then you can have dynamic, for example. So I try to go back. First step, this is the first step. Second step, let's consider the tension and releases in the pieces. So the phrase starts here. Okay, where is the point of tension? It is a piece in E minor, okay, which is the fifth. The dominant is okay, the B7, the B here. Let's say this is tension. So this is beginning point, tension here, all right? So let's try to reach this tension. For example, with dynamic. Tension dominant and tension there with the weight in the sound. For example, that can be a possibility. For example, this is a possibility. Second thing, let's reach it with agogic, with movement, with a little accelerando. Then after accelerando, you have to go back with rallentando. So let's try to add this, for example. Then stop. You see, in tempo, then deciding which is the melody and the accompaniment, the good sound, then which is the point of tension, generally dominant in this kind of pieces, how to reach it and how to go back with dynamic and with accelerando and then rallentando. And then this is the first part. Second part, second section in E major. So there is a change. I play with the same. But first of all, let's consider, as I said before, there are different sections. Should I do something different between the first one and the second and the third, which is the repetition of the first? I think, yeah, we can do something. So let's starting from the dynamic. The first one is in A major. So I read through the piece again in the same way, melody. I decide which and where is the melody, which is again. This is a melody. Then afterwards, the same, more or less the same things. I want to reach tension. And then, for example, here is a trick. The melody here is on the 4th string. So I play, for example, with the flash then with the nail. To have the melody clear. And then after that, I want to have a general vision of the piece. For example, the first section, the mood of the first section, the mood of the second section. How are these sections different? That's the aim, the point that I want to analyze now. I think this is delicate, and the kind of writing is delicate. So because there is a simple melody and just a really delicate answer, then here, but not many notes. When you start with the second section, we have a complete and full chord. So you have more sound here, and the section expresses joy, happiness. So you can, for example, do a different dynamic. I will do that. I would just play like with nostalgia. So let's try to understand what kind of mood, the soul, the expression deep in the section, in the first one, and let's try to describe it with your words. In Indian, I don't know Indian. In Italian, it's nostalgia, nostalgia. It's the sense of lackness. So there is something that you lack in your life. You think about something. There is melancholy in this section. Tension, but it's okay. The second one brings you power, light, joy, so more sound, it's more generous. So it's not just the same, but maybe all the notes here. Then go back to melancholy. Sometimes you can stop on the second. is an effect. Don't use too many effects in the piece. Sometimes it can be fantastic. And then rallentando, because the piece is finishing, okay? It's going to an end. I use the same ideas even in the second section. For example, if I want to reach the point, accelerating a bit, for example, I want to be here, which is again the B7. So you can read not only, but going with accelerando towards the point. Okay, which is the B7. And when you start, there is more movement in joy, in happiness. Try to sing the piece. Try to sing all the time the piece. Try to imagine and sing it. We in Italian, we sing a lot. I think also in India, you can sing all the world. The whole world could sing more. And then try to find joy in your sound when you play. Vibrato of joy. Or if you want to be delicate, it's the same, but there is happiness. Happiness. Then change, come back. Okay, this is what I do when I play a piece of music, deciding structure, melodies, internal elements, and the phrasing, and then, which is the most important thing, the mood, the expression, the soul of the piece is what I generally do when I play any kind of piece. So some question, Giulio, grazie, grazie Dennis, yeah. Thanks, Giulio. See you next time. Could you talk a little about Tarrega? Sueño, Mazurka, sueño. There are two sueños. I think I have sueño here. If you play sueño, there is sueño Mazurka and sueño tremolo. I think you refer to this is sueño Mazurka. Yeah. Yeah, the tremolo piece. Okay. Yeah. Well, there are. First of all, I don't know. We have. It's just almost time to go in. Thank you very much. So, Veda, as always, there is not much time to talk about everything. What I suggest for tremolo, let's talk about tremolo maybe, because all people are asking about tremolo. Tremolo technique, because I wanted to play also about the Traviata, about the other mazurkas and many other pieces. Since it's almost finished, the time, ciao Andrei, it's time to go for you. Okay, ciao to everybody. Now it's a bit late, but thanks. First of all, thank you. Thanks to all here for this time together, and I hope to meet you again. First, I want to say goodbye, but I go on some more minutes talking about the tremolo technique. And can you do can you do tremolo without nails? I think it's not easy. But you know, the point is talking about Tarrega. He could play without a nail. So it depends really on the kind of flesh of the kind of finger that you have. There are many questions. Dear Giulio, you decide how long you want to teach. We can continue. Veda. Yeah, how long? Okay, we go on some more minutes. I have got not much time now, maybe some more 10 minutes, but I want to stay with you. Maybe we could create in the next weeks another good meeting together, Veda. Yes, sir, please show the importance of bass notes in the Capricho Arabe. Yeah, please, the Capricho Arabe. So about tremolo, what I suggest you is to play tremolo. There are many techniques of tremolo. Just play. Oh yeah, I wasted time here. So tremolo with I think preparation is a good technique. Two kinds to play tremolo well is to prepare, yeah, to do that. So that is very important. Tremolo is also a sort of personal technique, but if you want to develop it very well, just play. It's you know, the preparative technique. So you start, which is very important thing. I think it's can be very useful. Very useful when you play tremolo. You can play in two ways. Simply playing the single section, the single elements, and playing it in tempo. Yakataka, 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 and taradara, taradara, taradara. But with the quarter, with the quartina, always with the second on the first one. The section for those will have a follow-up session with Giulio. Yeah. Yes, and your practice routine, brief idea of your practice routine. So I try to, so about tremolo, it's a very important technique, and there are two big pieces in Tarrega music. We know, of course, Recuerdos de Alhambra and Sueño Tremolo. They are both fantastic pieces of music. The other pieces with tremolo in the history of guitar, for example, starting from Regondi, the Opus 19, and then there is Varios Tremolo, there are Sueño la Floresta, Una Limosna por el Amor de Dios. What I suggest is to play arpeggio, open string arpeggio, Giuliani arpeggios. I can send you some arpeggio I do in my daily routine, if you like. That would be nice for all the people. I play, I have 3-4 pages of arpeggios that I do every day. I try to play this open string arpeggios, and that they contain also the tremolo, but not only that one. And then my, let's say, daily routine in this part of my life, you know, I play many new pieces every day, every week, every month. So I try to maintain 1-2 kinds of technique which I really need every day. It's the arpeggio right hand technique, and slurs, double slurs, like I play all this kind of double slurs, or this, which is very important to have the control of your left, and then open string arpeggio. And it's the technique, more or less the Abel Carlevaro technique. I will send you this arpeggio. What I say is that I try to have sections of about an hour, then I stop for a while, then hour, then I stop, I do something else. I think it's more useful than play sometimes 3-4 hours. Better to play very concentrated for 45-50 minutes, very concentrated. Then you stop, you just release, relax for a while, then go back. It's very important to be concentrated and not only repeating, but to be creative when you play, when you study, when you practice. I suggest always the Sloboda philosophy. There is a fantastic book. Maybe I talked in the last section of last summer. I don't remember. There is a fantastic book and essay called Musical Mind by Sloboda. This is a psychologist, and is very he did a great study on the method, on how we learn music, on how we have to practice music, and how we can reach our best performance. And the important philosophy, just translated into one phrase, is if you don't want to do mistake, just avoid doing mistake. It's very easy. So if you don't want a mistake, don't do it. Which, okay, it's very easy. If you want to play perfectly, play perfectly. What does it mean in terms of practicing? It means that when you practice daily, every day on your pieces, try to avoid mistakes. If you have a mistake, just control and solve immediately. For example, otherwise I know that to me and to everybody of you, sometimes you play a piece, then you have a mistake here. Then you play again the piece and the mistake is in the same point. Try to solve the mistake and not to have any mistake when you play. Play slowly, play with metronome, but please control everything. Try to control, and you will have a very good performance when you play, even on the stage, at school, with your teacher. I think that would be very, very important to you. And the musical, the cognitive, exactly, musical mind, the cognitive psychology of music. That's the complete title. Thanks, Rakin. It's available on Amazon. I really suggest you. It's not easy. It's divided into 3 sections. The first one is dedicated to the creative part when you compose music, and there is a section what is regards ourselves. It's about interpretation. It's about practicing, which is really it changed John Sloboda. It changes just my life, I would say, in a way, or in the same way, somewhat it suggested me how to proceed in the best way. 10 workshops are not enough for Tarrega, such a great composer. That's true. Then talking about just briefly about the Capricho Arabe, the question was about the bass line in the Capricho Arabe. Maybe if I can find it. Yes, it's a show the importance of bass notes in the Capricho Arabe, please, sir. And the question, yeah, okay. So in the Capricho Arabe, everything is very important. The bass line is very important, but let's consider always that this is a serenata. You know what is a serenade? Serenade is a sort of song played on an instrument in this case. So there is, which is the element, the most important element is the melody. Melody is here again. And what is important here is our Tarrega writes an accent on the second beat. So and then here there's this accent. And when you play from the beginning, and maybe that was the question, when you play, this is the bass line. You can divide it into 2 parts. Fa, mi, pa, da. So fa, mi, da, fa, mi, pa, da. Then again, here it is again. It's the same of the beginning. So again, here the question could be what kind of rubato on the Capricho Arabe. And again, I will tell you that you have to find balance. Actually, if I have to say what are the most important, just to end this section and to say goodbye to everyone, and first of all, thank you, really. But just my last words of this section could be, what are the most important characteristics in a musician when he plays, in an interpreter? I would say two things, more or less. The ability, the capacity, the ability of talking, of giving emotion to himself and to people. The emotion of the piece, the emotion he feels playing the piece, and this could be like a river towards people, towards ourselves when we play, this sort of emotion inside ourselves and to people. This is very important. And the second thing, first is emotion, which is the aim. Even in contemporary music, there is always movement, emotion. And then the second one is balance. Balance is, it doesn't mean that. Balance means that, and then this, and then this. So balance means contrast also. But balance means the ability of maintaining a balance, even changing a lot of things. Because if you change without controlling, your interpretation can be a sort of anarchy, okay? Without order, with too many ideas. If you don't put ideas, it will be flat, boring. So balance between putting ideas, putting emotions, the richness of everything you have inside, and what the composer, remember always that you have a relation with a composer when you play, a close relation. So that is the most important thing when you play. So this relation is full of emotion. It's not just notes and just you know, shades and paper. It's emotion on this, a close emotion and a relation with the composer, and that is emotion and balance, because it's the balance between what you think, what he thinks, and to find just the touch, the contact between between the composer, and above all towards people. So thanks really a lot. There are some more messages, So thanks to everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you, Veda, and thanks to all the people here. You were fantastic to stay here and to listen to this section, and I really hope to meet all of you very soon online, and then really alive in the next months, in the next year. So thanks, Veda, thanks a lot, and great and much love to everybody. Okay. Ciao.
Thank you so much, Giulio. Can we take one photo with you?
Yes, with pleasure. Yeah.
So let's put on our cameras.
Yeah. Right.
3, 2, 1, cheese. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, Giulio. Thank you.
It was fantastic. So we need more time, maybe 6-hour section or 10-hour section for Tarrega, but we'll do it again. Okay. We go on with other pieces, and I had a program of many more pieces, but there was no time, and it was fantastic. Thank you, Veda, and congratulations, really, for all what you are doing.